Hello everyone, good afternoon.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. Welcome to our free webinar, Parents' Role in Distance Learning. My name is Cristina Paredes.
And I'm Serena Merle.
We are the founders of the company Teachers Who Take Passion for Learning. And we are here one more time to talk about the truth behind this distance learning and what's the role of all of the parents in this country, in different parts of the world. Before we start with our webinar, I want to say thank you so much to everyone who is part of our community. And also thank you to Andres, who is in Ecuador. He is the person who's in charge of sharing all of our content to different platforms. So thank you so much, Andres, for always helping us. We are here in California, and we have our community all the world. So thank you, everyone, for being here with us.
So Teachers Who Tech, we provide different professional development for teachers and families related to technology and education. And so especially due to the circumstances of school closures because of the pandemic, we feel a responsibility to give back to our community in providing free webinars related to the integration of technology in education. And now everybody has been forced to think about what does all this mean with computers and apps and all these different platforms because of distance learning.
Yeah, and it's not just teachers who are bombarded now with all of these free technology tools, but also parents, right? Depending on your child's year of when your child was born, and then he's in first grade or she's in kindergarten, then you are who's probably doing more of this clicking in different platforms, right? Like if you have to go into Zoom, well, your child is probably too young to know how to navigate Google Classroom or Google Calendar to do the clicking, go into Seesaw. So you are helping teachers doing all of this. And of course, if your kids are in middle school, high school, or college, the situation is a little bit different. However, we are all in our houses. So the sharing space, the sharing our activities, that is still a little bit messy. So
yeah.
What is your role and how you're doing it? We would like to know more about you.
Right, and we recognize that every state and every city and county have different recommendations, and some people might be going back to school in person and that looks very different, or a hybrid model, or still fully virtual like when the schools closed back in the springtime. So wherever the state is, parents are there. Parents are there for their children in their education. And so we want to talk about what that looks like, specifically thinking about this change of classes being virtual. What does that mean? So thinking about that, before we jump into what the change looks like and how do parents support their child, what does parenting look like in general? What is a parent's role?
Yeah, and this is such an important question because we're not only thinking about the role in terms of house or in terms of love, but what are all of those things that you think you have to provide for your child? So, if you want to share with us, we are always here live. We would like to know what you think about it. If you're not watching this live, we're always watching and reading all of the comments that our community are writing to us. So, let us know, what is parenting for you? What does that mean now, and what's the difference from before we were before this COVID-19?
Oh, that was my next question. You already jumped to it. Well, thinking about parenting, you're there to provide for your child, and that could be providing basic necessities like housing and food and medical care and education and being their support. But like Christina already mentioned, there's the emotional side as well. And how has that changed? So first we want to share with you some of our summary of parenting roles divided into two areas. And that first area is the provider of, I need to provide food, shelter, medical attention, education, basic necessities, an enriching environment for my child to develop and grow and be their best person. But related to that, I also need to make sure that I'm providing that love and attention and giving them my time, showing them I care, giving them support and help so that they can develop into their own person.
And how is that looking right now, right? Especially that part. Love, time, attention, care, and support. When your kid cannot access the class, and you're calling the school, or you're trying to call the teacher, but the teacher cannot answer the phone because the teacher is trying to teach. And what is it? Because parents, they talk to me and they say like, please help me, my child is very upset. And the first time that I get this email, I thought maybe the child is not a little child, maybe he or she's in high school. But this was a little child in second grade who was very frustrated because he wanted to get into the class, right? And of course, everyone could be frustrated now. And now how we are sharing our compassion, our empathy with our kids. Because you and me, we didn't do this virtual learning. And none of these parents, or most, I'm thinking that majority of people learn in the traditional way, which was going to the school. So we don't really know about this, right?
Right.
We were in our schools having fun, talking, and chatting while the teacher is and my mom and my dad didn't know anything about that.
Well, we don't have the same empathy, you're right. We never were forced to do this.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about school in just a second. So, yes, there are lots of differences there. We do need to think about these provider role has not changed at all. But the other side of parenting that's equally important that we need to think about is the role of structure, providing structure. And that looks like having routines, having a set up expectations. What does discipline look like? And discipline doesn't mean negative, anything negative. Discipline, if we think about the Latin root, discipline just means helping learn. And discipline comes from a very clear and concise understanding of this happens because of this. And if this doesn't happen, then there's a consequence. And we need to set up those boundaries and those consequences and follow through with them so that children can learn. They need rules. They need structure. This is how we learn as humans. And school has been a big part of setting up those expectations and rules and behaviors just in how it's set up fundamentally. But parents have a big role in how does that look in the household.
And now more than ever.
And now more than ever, because they aren't going to school and they don't have those expectations that they have to raise their hand to talk, they have to ask permission to do certain things, and there's expectations that certain things we do at home we don't do at school. Just like for adults. The way I act at home is not the same way I act when I'm in my job. I don't have those responsibilities and a certain expectation of how I need to portray myself. I'm comfortable, which is why kids act differently at home. They're very safe and comfortable in their home setting because the expectations aren't the same. But yet now they're in their home setting, they're acting like they should when they're at home, but they have classes.
Yes.
So it is very challenging. It's so different in so many ways. Because what is the purpose of school?
Well, many purposes. The most important one is to provide the education to the student, right? So we are going to give a lot of knowledge in different areas, so math, science, all of these different subjects. That is the first one. But also, we're also giving the space for our students to socialize. So that's what we are doing when we are going to school, which is not what we have right now because we are all in small boxes in front of a computer. So again, I can't talk to Serena and let her know that I did something very crazy this weekend. It's not possible.
Yeah. Well, and socialize, like you say, it isn't just hanging out. It's I'm in a group of 20, 30 people and I need to know how to act. I need to know how to be respectful and listen to others and wait for my turn and share and hear what is somebody else saying and be able to expand or make a comment. All of those things are really challenging with the distance learning platforms. However, the concepts of you as a parent and what is your role as a parent doesn't change. Your role as a parent, whether your child's in physical classes or distance learning, doesn't change. You are there to get your child up and ready to go to school. So that should be the same. If we think about, we're going to talk about 5 strategies of how parents can support their child in distance learning. Oh, first, let's go to this. We're almost there.
What is distance learning for parents? And this, it could be different for so many parents. But one of the first ones that I've noticed is the anxiety, right? Feeling like, oh my gosh, I have to do this and that. And now schools are sending a lot of emails, right? So we, in our schools, we have to be very mindful of what are the things that we're sharing with parents, because you, parent, you're receiving so many different emails with a lot of information. And if your child is a little child, you are the one navigating all of these new tools, right? What is CISO? Oh my gosh, what is Google Classroom? What is Clever? Like, what am why am I doing all of this, right? So we are asking you to help us. So yes, distance learning for many parents is anxiety. And this, not even thinking about the fact that most parents are working. So you have to do this while your child is there doing the class. You have to work.
Right. And you might have the luxury, let's say, of being able to have a job that you can work at home. Not a lot of people have had that luxury, and so either they've lost their jobs, which is a whole added other stress on top of it, or they have to go to their jobs and they have an in-person job. So where do their kids go? And this is a reality. Some kids are left at home. Some kids are being watched by babysitters or nannies or aunts and uncles or neighbors, or there are school programs. But that is really challenging when it's not just the same. Okay, when kids were going to school before all of this happened, parents' responsibility is to get their kids up and ready and take them and drop them off. And here you go. Now I pass the baton, you take my child, and the responsibility is exchanged. I, the parent, am now, let's say, free. I have left my child at school, and now I can go do my other responsibilities, whether that's going to work or doing whatever. It didn't really matter because the child was not with me anymore. But now, that child is not going to school. That adult that's through the screen is not physically responsible for that child. Even though the child has to sign in every day, and yes, they have to take attendance, they're not there.
It is so challenging. So challenging for us as teachers, and so challenging for parents there. Because now your kid is with you all the time. And we understand the stress, the
Nobody
anxiety.
really had a summer because you didn't really go anywhere. Most people. It wasn't like
it was super fast.
And it wasn't like, oh, I like to have the summer to spend time with my kids. It's like, I've been with my kids since March.
Well, we have Labor Day soon, and we're not going anywhere.
3-day weekend? Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Right.
So what can we do? Well, thinking about school should be school, parents should be parents, teachers should be teachers, and students need to be students. All of those essential things should stay the same. Now, how it looks might be a little bit different, but we need to focus. Okay? I'm the parent.
Okay.
You are the teacher.
Okay.
My child is the student. So what do we do?
I'm laughing because sometimes, I know this, sometimes you are the parent and you are the teacher. So what should you do? Because your child is learning next to you while you're teaching.
Yeah,
Is
that's
that possible?
Okay. So the first thing that we need to do is thinking about establishing that routine. Children, before this, we had a routine that was pretty much forced upon us, whether we wanted it or not, because of the requirement of leaving the house.
Yep.
So you had to wake up, whether they got fed or not, get changed, grab their backpacks, and out the door.
Yes.
There's a routine there, and they knew that. They had to wake up. They had to go to school. Now, they don't go to school. They stay at home for school. They still have to wake up, but are they waking up at the same time every day? Is there an alarm clock set? We can be responsible in parents to have that routine established. So thinking about that doesn't mean you're micromanaging every single part of their schedule. It's thinking about you as a parent. I need to get my child up and ready to go to school. I need to make sure my child has food to eat. If I'm going to send, in this case, whether the school provides lunch, if there's free lunch program, or if you have lunch at home, what does that look like? And then I need to help my child with their homework. That's a parent's responsibility, and that was what was happening before. The child comes home after school. What homework do you have? I'm going to help my child with their homework. Listen to that.
Everything could be a homework now.
Well, everything's homework. But we'll get to that in just a second.
All right. Communicate with teachers. Don't wait until the end. Don't wait until your child is having a lot of issues. No, just be proactive. Talk to the teacher. Ask the teacher, you know what? How can I help you? If you see the teacher is like, I don't know, very stressed about teaching, ask the teacher, how can I help you? Because maybe just by saying that, you're going to help the teacher. But the other part is communicate with the teacher so that you know what is happening in the classroom.
Yes.
If you don't understand something, teachers are there to support you. In this case, it's not just to support the child, it's to support the parent, especially if you are with little kids. So communicate with the teacher.
Yes.
And the third one is very important.
We need to move.
Yes.
Even if kids didn't have that much physical activity in school, they were still moving from the car to the classroom, from the classroom to the library. They were still walking around.
And then they have the break time, and then they're moving and kicking, whatever, kicking the ball. But now, if they don't have that, if the school is not providing that either, it is your responsibility to make sure that your kid is actually moving. Because if not, what's going to happen is that they're going to end up with, tired eyes, burning back, legs that are hurting, knees that are hurting. So we have to make sure that our kids are moving. 20 minutes every night. Let's do it together. We don't have a space where outside we cannot go for a walk. Okay, you have a living room, you have your room. Just let's do it. Let's stretch, let's move, right? Let's try to do something, and let's have fun also.
Yeah, you can make a game out of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, just getting movement, and the movement helps the mind. It's not just the body. It's not like we're just thinking and focusing on, okay, we have to be healthy, we have to move our bodies. But if your child is kind of like on the table, we need to get the blood flowing. And we talk about these movement breaks with teachers. They know this, and so getting your kid up and having them do a jumping jack is not just, hey, wake up. It really gets more blood into the brain, and it helps us focus better.
Yeah, so we have to do this. This is very important.
All right, so I was like, homework. This is what I was getting at. It just didn't transition right away. Resist the temptation to attend your child's classes and to help your child during the classes. Why? Because we have to think about our role. Do parents go to school and sit next to their child and tell the child the answers during classes? No.
That's our responsibility as teachers to help your child to understand some concepts. And it's the same thing right now. So we really appreciate you trying to help us, but you can help us in a different way.
If you want to help your child pay attention, great. They need someone physically there. Even if you shut the door and you check on them every 10, 15 minutes, just pop in and be like, are you good? Pay attention. Make sure they're not sleeping on the floor or whatever. That's fine.
And if your child is sleeping on the floor while the class is on, that means that class is boring. So then we have to think about that. Or
maybe they're really tired.
Well, yes. And we have a lot of webinars about this, so don't worry about it. We will talk about this later.
All right, but still, thinking about the teacher is there And the teacher has all these strategies to be able to try to reach each child's participation and motivation individually. The parent is there to support in the homework and the getting and the receiving of the child. So thinking about, yes, you need to be there to help click on to things, maybe something troubleshoot. Mom, it closed. I don't know what to do. Great. That's amazing. Then let them be in the class.
Yes.
Because we also know kids act differently around their parents. Sometimes kids want to show off and they want their parent to feel so proud of them. And so they're all the time, oh, I know. And they're not letting anybody else talk.
Or maybe they don't ask anything.
Maybe they don't ask anything. And sometimes they just get into this and they don't feel like they want to talk around their parents because they want their parents to do things for them.
Yes.
And we see that a lot. And so if you are the ones, what I see is kids can get really excited of the attention that they get for homework. And if you sit down, you have a routine every night, okay, let's work on your homework. They're going to get nice attention from you. And then when it's class time, you're in your class.
Yeah. All right. And then, very important, take care of yourself. If you're not feeling good, if you're very stressed, then you're not going to be able to help your child. So everything that you've heard right now will not work if you're not good with yourself. So we have a lot of webinars that talk about this. We invite you to go to either our YouTube page or here on Facebook because we really want to support you.
Yes.
This virtual learning, this distance learning, this COVID-19 is changing so many things. And one of those is this. We feel like we have to do a lot of things like an octopus here and there.
Well, it's the uncertainty of it all. Changes are hard and we're really resistant to change as a human race. But change is supposed to be it happens and there's an end and then we adapt. But the thing is that this is not ending and we don't know when it's going to end. And that's really hard.
Yes.
And so
So
we're
take care of
carrying
yourself.
all of that.
So take care of yourself, please. Take care of yourself. If you've ever been in an airplane and then you're hearing about all of these things that when the airplane crashes on the water, and you're like, okay, that's crazy. But anyway, and then if this oxygen drops, first you, then the person who's with you, right? Because if you're not good, if you're not breathing, how are you going to help this person?
Yes.
So take care of yourself.
All right, so we want to end with one message. And I'm just going to read it. I'm sorry, it's a little bit blurry, but I'm just going to read it to you. I want you to think about this. While no one is sure how long distance-only learning will continue, we know it won't last forever. Children and young people take cues from adult behavior and attitudes. So it's important to communicate calm, confidence, and optimism that we're going to pull through this crisis together. Managing our own emotions will help our children stay focused on learning and look forward to another school year ahead. So, children are so aware. Children that are 2 months old, 2 years old, 12 years old, 22 years old, they're so perceptive of what's going on around them. And if the adults, the models that they're looking up to, the parents, the aunts and uncles, the teachers are expressing fear and anxiety, and I hate this, I don't like this. That's what they're going to internalize and feel. So the only thing that we can get out of this webinar today of parents' role in distance learning is to be that supportive, positive rock for your child. I know it's hard. Okay, let's do it. Let's do it together. Okay, I know that was really crazy. Let's do a funny dance. Positivism. If we can just support and be that guide, that everything's kind of crazy, but I look up to my mom, I look up to my dad, I look up to my grandma and grandpa, and they're still good, I'm going to be good.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much for being here with us. We really enjoyed the time of talking about what is this really means, distance learning, your role as a parent, your role as a student, your role as a teacher. All of you are so important. and we are here to support you. So thank you so much for being part of our community. My name is Christina.
I'm Serena.
And we are the founders of Teachers Who Tech. We will see you next week.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye.